Hello and welcome to Film Companion South. In this episode, we are going to be talking about Manu Warrior's Kuruthi. The film has a huge star cast. It has Prithviraj, it has Roshan Matthew, it has Manikandan Acharya, Murali Gopy, Shine Tom Chacko, and a very impressive Shrinda who plays the sole female character. The film's opening is deliberately a bit disorienting. We see a bunch of quick cut events. We see something about a tragedy, we see something with cops. We are not able to string together a coherent story yet, but slowly the events and the characters and their surroundings begin to make complete sense. The Roshan Matthew and Shrinda characters, he's a Muslim and she's a Hindu, they live in an almost Eden-like place. Now the neighborhood is almost empty because everyone else has left the area due to a natural calamity. These are the only two, along with their families, who have chosen to stay behind. And in this little Eden, the religious differences, the fact that he's a Muslim and she's a Hindu, they don't matter all that much because both families live in almost perfect harmony. I say almost because even here there are people who harbor some resentment for people from another religion. But outside this little Eden, the real world outside, things are very different. Hindus feel that their majoritarian status is being threatened. Muslims feel that endless atrocities are being committed upon them. And slowly this outside world, the serpent if you will, enters the Eden that we knew from earlier. The Eden inhabited by the Roshan Matthew and Shrinda characters. And slowly people's real colors really begin to come out. Now consider these questions. Is it important to be a good Hindu or a good Muslim and do what your God or your prophet asks you to do? Or is it more important to be a good human being? When you make a promise with your hand on the Quran, should you adhere to it even when your belief systems are shaken? Even when the people you thought you knew turn out to be religious chauvinists themselves? Now the beauty of Kuruthi is that all this philosophy, it sounds really heavy, right? Now all this philosophy is presented in the form of an action-packed home invasion thriller. And the best part of the script by Anish Palyal is how it redefines the very concept of a home invasion thriller. Now usually the genre is about one's own home, that is the place where you live in, the house itself which is under attack. But here the very question of home becomes something else. For example, is India a home for Muslims anymore? The screenplay is an absolute cracker. Yes, there is a little over-explaining of the themes via dialogues that seem somewhat redundant. But pay close attention and you'll find that everything that happens in this movie later has been hinted at earlier. From the presence of snakes, to the ability of a man to climb trees, to a wasp's nest, to the killing of a goat. All of these come back in a major way later on, and even the dialogue is filled with clues. Now, very early on, we hear about a man who's seeking revenge for his father's death. This man is not named, and we don't even know if it's a casual mention or if this man is going to play a major part in the story. The mention about this man is that casual, but he ends up being a big part of the story. And then we recall that earlier line of dialogue. It's that intricate. And remember I said Eden? There is a strong biblical undercurrent that runs throughout this movie, right down to Cain murdering his brother Abel. This becomes a metaphor for Hindus and Muslims no longer being brothers or bhai. We see how a completely good man can be forced to resort to violence because the murderous Cain's blood, that's the blood that runs through all of us. And there's another lovely point about religion, which says that God gives us burdens to bear depending on our inner strength because He knows how much we can take. He gives us that much to bear. Kuruthi is superbly crafted. Right from the top angle shot of a police jeep at the beginning, it's slightly askew. Abhinandan Ramanujam's cinematography is outstanding. Now, after a point, this film becomes a home invasion thriller, which means that the home is a big part of the thriller. That means you only have a limited space to work with, right? Now, when Sidney Lumet made the great courtroom drama 12 Angry Men, which is set mostly in one room, the great cinematographer Boris Kaufman found extremely inventive ways to keep framing the people inside that one room while also maintaining the sense of claustrophobia. And that's what Abhinandan does here. He keeps things visually interesting all the time. He keeps finding newer and newer ways to frame the same set of people in the same rooms. Now, I mentioned that Roshan Matthews plays a Muslim and Shrinda plays a Hindu, but I did not make a mention of what Prithviraj plays, what Shine Tom Chacko plays, or any of the other actors play. That's because it's all a surprise and it's a slow unraveling of events that I don't want to spoil for you. But the performers are terrific. Look at how Prithviraj plays a driven man with strong convictions. Look at how Roshan Matthews plays that mix of compassion and confusion. And look at how Shrinda plays a woman who who has her own little secrets. This cast elevates what could have been a very routine thriller into something larger, something much bigger, and Kuruthi is a great example. It's a solid little film that's a great example of how you can have big things to speak about even in a so-called genre film. So that's it for Kuruthi. If you like this video, do subscribe to Film Companion South and see you soon at the movies.